Hey, Steve Riley, welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And today I have not one, but two special guests. I have Daniel Struna, one of our terrific practice advisors, and Matthew Kaufman. So, Matt, welcome to the podcast. Dan, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you guys here.
Thanks, Steve. I'm very excited to be on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Likewise. Good to be back.
It's always great to have you here, Dan. And Matt, you said something absolutely hysterical. But before you share everybody the insight and the joke, tell everybody where you practice and what you do, just briefly, like so people know who you are and what you're about from a practicing perspective.
All right. My name is Matthew Kaufman. I practice employment law with the focus on representing employees. And what I like to, in Thousand Oaks, California, what I like to say is I help people get their lives back together again, because that's basically what I do for my good clients or for people that I really like to represent. So it's basically wrongful termination and compensation claims.
All in California. Do you do federal?
Actually, no. I've actually practiced in a variety of states. It's mainly in California, right? But I've had cases in Massachusetts. I've had cases in Arkansas. I've had cases in Colorado. So I have a brief bag, will travel kind of attitude.
You have this great premise. So your great premise is how Atticus has worked for you after your first 12 months with Atticus, and basically how it could work for someone else. And so why did you want to get on the podcast? Why did you want to, join Dan and I to talk about this?
Well, like I was saying before, I think it's a great organization, not to be like too much of an advertisement, right? But I've had a really good, positive experience in law, which is kind of like warfare. This is a building up experience, which is such a refreshing thing, as opposed to the confrontational, day to day that you usually get. And I've gotten some really good results too. I have to toot my own horn. It worked. And I love listening to the podcast. I guess I'm a masochist, right? And I was thinking all these people are like aspirational, is what I would call them. And they're very far along in their, I guess, better business, right? Like I never doubted myself as a lawyer, but I certainly doubt myself as a business person, right? So they're like, you have people with, a 10-digit attorney, right? I think it was 10 digits or 8 digits, whatever, many digits. And I was like, well, that's great. And I would love to be that guy, but it seems like a long way away, right? And it's not like what I would like for someone like me, you know what I mean? And someone like me is someone like at the time, 6 months in and wondering, what am I doing? Is this going to work? Am I on the road to ruin? Right. Which is I always wonder anyways, right? That's like a constant, soundtrack in my head, I think. And so I thought, hey, I should talk about why this worked for the regular folks. Right. And so I told that to Daniel, who's on the podcast today, and here I am.
What do you see next for your practice based on the progress that you've made for the past 15 months?
I have a lot of ambitions that haven't been accomplished, as, believe it or not in the business realm, but in the law realm of being a trial attorney. And, you can't take on cases of the scale I want to take alone. And so I want to take those cases on and win. And that's part of the plan of increasing cash flow, by the way. You win a big case, you win a big fee. And, I never doubted myself in the law part of the business. Like, I think it's just, I'm kind of a well-placed person for being a lawyer. And I never doubted it. But the business side, I need help. And I got it. I'm really psyched, actually, that I did. It was very good. And so that's the future. I don't want to be one of these full-time managers. I actually like practicing law. There's some parts I don't want to do ever again, but like I like being involved in it. And so if I could hire some kind of business manager and to do all that, I'd be pretty psyched. That'd be pretty good, to offload those, kind of the Steve Riley stuff, I'd call it, right? The financial analysis, the this, the that, the training, the new initiatives. Though I have to say, I think I do enjoy doing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it, right? Like it wasn't out of desperation, I think, that I did it. I think actually it was like I got kind of intrigued, almost like playing with a new machine, and I was really glad I did because it's helped me out.
So, Daniel, as you look back and you think about the progress you guys have done over the past 15 months, what do you think the three biggest strategies are that Matt adopted to grow the practice way he has? I mean, these are great, really a great outcome, 15 months.
I think the first thing is probably the one that Matt has kind of talked about a good bit already, but really that you've delegated. So 15 months ago, going back to that starting point with Atticus, right, in the coaching process, it was just you. If you wanted to delegate, there was nobody to delegate to. So now fast forward to today, you're on the cusp of having, two full-time and one full-time attorney to delegate to. So I think you've, mastered is probably not the right word, but you've really gone all in on the, the idea that if you can push down the things that aren't really your wheelhouse or somebody can do cheaper, faster, and better, there's a ton of fear around that for a lot of people. Like building out the team, there's a lot of responsibility on your part that I'm sure you feel that on your shoulders, bringing these people on, paying their compensation, making sure that they're taken care of, making sure that they're contributing to the firm. There's so many different, so to me, there's a lot of emotion there, right? Not just for you, Matt. I mean, for anybody listening, for anybody building a business, a law firm. So I think whether you have that fear or not, I don't know. You can speak to that, but
Totally, man. Are you kidding?
Anyway, right? You looked at the kind of the benefits and what the result might be if kind of did this thing and it worked out, and you're continuing to do that. Yeah, good. So that would be my first one. I think just the Matt's ability to get past the fear, get past the kind of scariness of, building out a team. And he's done that like incredibly fast. I mean, frankly, you've done it very quickly. And you've done it very successfully. Like your first hire, everybody you've hired is still with you. Like those two people, those were initial hires and they're still there, which was a pretty big deal. And even if you do I think we all know this, but even if you do every single thing that you should do, like all the best practices, use the disc, create a really good, robust, clear job description, have a successful, I know you did this really well, Matt. You had a successful kind of ramp to success to get that person onboarded in the first 90 days. Even if you do,
right. Yeah.
Even if you do all those things, there's a percentage chance that it's not going to work out, right? That it's not going to work. So you were fortunate in that regard, but you laid all the groundwork to make it give yourself the best chance of success.
I think that hiring was really important. Also was like a leap of faith, at the time. Like I said, I had boxed myself in with so many kind of prohibitive thoughts that after a while you lose confidence, right? And I had lost confidence. And so, well, you're going to hire this person, you're either going to end up on the rocks or not, right? And it didn't. It worked, which was good. It was a nice shot in the arm. And then, keep building. Actually, what I think the most important thing was the time map and the value. I forgot what it was called. The value. You write down the values of your time. What you think. What do you do and assign it a value, right? I forgot what it's called. Like not a labor needs.
Vision of functions worksheet.
Yeah, that's the vision of function.
Identifying where you're spending your time. Yeah. And I'm
That's
glad you brought up the time
yeah.
map or the
Mm.
time template, but because I think we went into that very early on as well, which is not surprising either. To get, Steve, you know this very well, and you know it too, Matt. Like nobody can, you can't do different things in your practice, whether it's thinking about it differently or actually doing something in a different way, if you're already kind of overflowing, right? You don't have the ability or time to do something, do something different, let alone think about things differently.
Mhm.
But who has time to do 90 minutes of uninterrupted time thinking about my great life when you have all this casework and all these other things to do? So yeah, starting with some practical, time management and focus management strategies to help give you some capacity to basically be able to do this other type of thinking. I think we started there pretty early on.
Yeah, I think Steve calls it intentionality.